So this one, I'm going to do some quick validations to the form prior to actually showing the user's answers themselves. Because in many cases, you might need to validate the form data depending on how you do it. And especially if you as the developer, make a mistake on this value, you want to make sure that you have checks yourselves on this form that's actually saving this data. So that means that I'll do define clean and then the field name that I'm going to be working with. So in this case, it's answer ID, and it takes in self. Now, we've already done something like this before in our newsletter. We have these clean stuff right here, and that's what we actually want to do. It's the exact same thing. So let's go back into our other form, and we'll say answer ID is equal to form.cleanedData. And then we are going to get the answer ID. All right, so just same thing that we're following with here. And then in this forms, we're going to return answer ID. So what I want to do with this answer ID is I want to make sure that this model actually exists. So it's going to validate against this model existing. So I'm going to come in here and pull in answer, and then I'll also pull in question. And all I want to do is say if it exists. So first of all, I'll go ahead and try to get this object. So I'll say object equals to answer.objects.get ID equals to answer ID. And if there's an exception, so if something about this goes wrong, we'll do forms.validation error. And there was an error with the answer. Please try again. All right, so just like what we've seen before, it's raise. You want to raise that validation error. So just like what we've seen, we've done a few different things here just like that. And we're going to copy this and bring it down to also being for question ID. Question, and this is question ID. There's a problem with the question. So again, it's just doing some validation to make sure that this actually exists. And the last one would be clean their answer ID. And I'm actually going to reorganize these based on how the fields appear themselves. So clean their answer ID. And we'll just copy that, paste, paste, paste. There's a problem with the answer you provided for them. All right, so now if I do it again, yes, yes, and save, I got form issue does not actually show up because it should be self, not form. Silly. Okay. Self is the instance of the form, and that mistake came because we create the form here, which creates an instance of the form, and we have the clean data right there. So that's kind of where that came from. Okay, so now that we've got this, let's go back, refresh it again. Nothing happened, so no validation errors happen. But if for some reason you had the wrong number here, and we came through, and I said just like what I did, and it says there's a problem with the answer you provided for them and for you. So this is actually showing what that error is, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and get rid of that because that validation does work and it doesn't allow us to store this data, which is really important because especially when we're coming to this view, I want to make sure that when I'm actually doing this part that it's actually going to work. It's actually going to store this data in a way that makes sense. And doing that clean or this form is valid is just running that validation for us. Cool. All right, so that's all we've got for this one. In the next one, we will actually create those user answers or at least see them if they're not already there. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, let's keep going.